yourself comfortable and settled for a relaxation. It's always good to be warm and comfortable so that you can really relax your body and be still. And it's also really good not to force your body into something that's not right for it in this moment. So if you wanted to move around a bit, if you're really tired and you wanted to sit up so you don't fall asleep, or if you're really tired and you want to lay down so you could maybe fall asleep, all of those are good options. You could do a practice and come more into the experience of whatever it is that's going on right now. But also not to just kind of stew in that experience either and see what's going on. And we hear sounds and we take an assessment of if it's ease in the breath, softness in the body, relaxing the mind. There's less gripping onto thoughts in the mind, less compulsiveness in our thoughts. So just as is in a safe location in our system at the moment. Take some deep breaths. Relax the shoulders, the whole of the body. And especially as we breathe out, we can soften and relax and let go, aligning ourselves with the body's natural inclination to let go on the exhale. Let's start just with noticing the breath, the rhythm of the breath, how the body moves with the breath, the different sensations in our body as we breathe. There's that sensation of the air as it flows through the nostrils, the sensation of the muscles in our belly and our stomach area lengthening as we breathe in, and how the belly comes back towards the spine as we breathe out. You could take a few deep inhales and then long, slow exhales. Let yourself kind of sigh into a relaxation. And then watch as your body takes over after you stop deliberately breathing in and out more deeply. Notice what comes back into the body. Notice the rhythm, the pace, the feel of that. In some practices, we might want to focus almost exclusively on the breath. It's such a good anchor for the mind. And it's certainly something we can keep coming back to. Whatever's going on in our mind, or if we have our shoulders up around our ears, or we have that clench in our gut, as soon as we notice, then we could come back. Take a few deeper breaths, relax our stomach, relax the shoulders. Come back into this moment. So our body is always in this moment. Our breath is always happening in this moment. What's not always in this moment is the thoughts in the mind. Our thoughts aren't limited to here and now, they go all over the place into true experiences of the past and into imagined things of the future. And also, our memory isn't 100% reliable either. So sometimes the way we remember something is different than somebody else might remember the same situation, or we might have kind of left or dissociated or not been paying attention. And we have all kinds of things that have happened in our lives that someone says, "Hey, remember that time?" And you go, I actually don't. So our mind is very selective in what it remembers, and even more selective in what it brings forward on its own. Mostly it brings forward things that are a warning. So if there's some kind of potential danger, that's usually what the primitive brain is trying to get us to notice. We call it the default mode network of thoughts that just come in when we're not doing anything else. We're not really paying attention to something. And often those are worry or anxiety, or we ruminate about something that happened in the past because it kind of sticks in our craw. We think about, oh, this is what I should have said in that situation, or I really wish this, or so we have all of those kinds of thoughts that are really natural. We all have them to some degree. And as we're doing a practice, a big part of what we're doing is focusing our attention. We don't actually need to be aware of something that happened 50 years ago or 10 minutes ago, even maybe. We could just tune into what's happening now. A few days ago, we did a practice on direct perception. So there's the direct perception of something. If you were to notice the flow of air in your nostrils, there are sensory feelings. There's a coolness as you breathe in, and the air is moving over the membranes of the nose. We can feel that, and we might just be feeling it and noticing it without words, or we might be putting words to it. My nose is dry, or I'm holding my breath, or something like that. And we might be judging it too, like what's the matter with me that my breath isn't smoother, or maybe a curiosity. Oh, what is going on that my breath isn't smoother right now? But the direct perception is just to be aware and noticing what's happening without adding a bunch of labeling or analysis onto that. So that is what we move towards, or that is our intention as we do a practice. Give ourselves a break from some of the activity in the mind and just let our attention settle. And as I've been talking, you've probably been noticing different things about your body today. When we put our attention there, we can certainly notice how we're arranged in space. We don't need to open our eyes to notice where our arms are or our legs are. We know that even with our eyes closed or with the gaze soft, if we're not looking at our body. We know that in a different way, a different sense. And bring your attention to the whole entire body and the space that your body is occupying. Another way of working with perception and with rest is to pay attention to what's happening in that space that our body is occupying. What's going on in that space for you right now? One thing we'll notice is there are generally thoughts in the space in the head or nearby. There are different sensations. Some of them are stationary, some of them are moving, like the belly as we breathe. We notice this space our body is occupying changes a bit. As we breathe in, we bring in some of that air from in front of our face, comes into the lungs, our stomach moves out into what was empty space, and then as we breathe out, it settles back. If we were to raise our arms, for instance, our arms would be moving through empty space and then coming back. Notice the space itself. Notice if every bit of the space that your body is occupying has sensation. There are locations where there's a little bit of sensation, and then there are a lot of locations where there's nothing. It's just kind of empty. And then if we tighten the muscles in our thighs, for instance, suddenly it's not so empty. There's that sensation. And then we could let the legs relax and come to rest. Notice what the experience of space is when we do that. We tighten up a set of muscles, we feel that sensation, and then we breathe out and let that relax or soften. And it leaves behind a bit of a residue of sensation for a little while. If you were to lift your eyebrows up and then breathe out and let them soften, it brings our attention to that location. But it also, there's a bit of an aliveness there. The blood rushes in after we soften that area. And bring your attention to the empty space, that wide open empty space that we can sense in between the eyes. So it's not really limited to that location, because behind the eyes is actually the brain and then the skull. But notice what your experience is if you bring your attention to a wide empty space between the eyes. And then notice the space and the sensations in the space of the nostrils and the throat, the back of the mouth. We feel that cooler in breath in a certain location. Let your tongue relax onto the floor of the mouth. Relax your vocal cords, let them come to rest. If you're clenching your teeth, even a little bit, put a bit more space between the top and the bottom and soften through the hinges of your jaw. Notice the muscles of your neck and shoulders into your upper back. Notice what's happening in that location. And as you breathe out, let those muscles soften. And then bring your attention out to the whole of your body again. When we change our focus from the whole of our body and back to a certain location, maybe the belly right now, and the whole of our body, it helps us to not wander off in thought, but it also helps us to know that there's more here than a pain in a certain part of the body or thoughts in the mind is what usually grabs our attention. Or the two of them Velcro together, we have a sensation and we have thoughts about that. And then as you're breathing in, really notice what's happening in your body, either head to toes or a specific part. And as you breathe out, notice the space all around what you were paying attention to. So you might be breathing in, paying attention to your forehead, and then breathing out, notice the space in front of your forehead, above, to the sides, all around your forehead. You could do that with your whole body. Notice on the inhale, you're aware of the solidness of your body, of the space and the sensations of your body. And as you breathe out, notice the space all around the outside edges of your body. Almost like the tide coming in, the waves come in and then the waves go out. We could notice that. We notice the interior space on the inhale, all the sense perceptions, the nerve signals, muscles. And as we breathe out, we notice the space all around that. And let it evolve as it comes. You might notice a certain sensation and then the space right around that, or a larger area. Whatever's coming up is fine. Notice the interior on the inhale and the exterior on the exhale. You could do that with thought if you're catching a train of thoughts, if you're noticing that your mind has wandered. You could notice the sound and then the silence when the sound comes to an end. You could put them up like you're seeing them in words, and then let that soften and notice the space on the outside as you breathe out. Let your mind and your attention be kind of fluid. There's no right or wrong way to approach this. Just kind of playing around with this. On the inhale, we're noticing what's here, whether that's thoughts or sensations. On the exhale, we're taking attention away from that sensation or thought and putting it on the space around it. So we're remaining aware of the rhythm of breath, of the softening of the body as we breathe out. And even if your mind wandered pretty much the whole time, we could take this last minute of the practice and really focus in. What's happening on the inhale? We look at the interior experience, our felt sense, our thoughts, our sensations. And as we breathe out, we focus on the space around that. And then, if you like, you could set an intention to come back to this just at different times during the day, maybe when you sit down for a meal, or you get in your car, or you turn on your computer. Any kind of anchor helps us to remember. You make a tea or something. Just even for a few breaths to notice what's here on the inhale, and then notice the space around it on the exhale. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.